Heroes created by people's imagination live and commit their acts of bravery in our program, The Legend of Kazakhs. Legends are an invaluable cultural heritage passed down from generation to generation. What color is the water in the rivers and the lakes? Is it blue, dark blue, or green? Trust us, this is not the whole palette. Extraordinarily beautiful colored water with emerald, crimson, yellow, scarlet, white, and even black waters are scattered across the globe. Each of those waters have their own character and history, and each lake is surprising and unusual in its own way. But none of the colors are as pleasing to the eye as the blue-green or the turquoise color. Each of us has had an experience of peace and quiet while contemplating the green meadows or the crowns of the trees. But the rivers and the lakes with their turquoise color are the most fascinating. For many years, a lot of stories and legends were made up about the lake Jibek, explaining the delightful color of the mountain lake. Once, when the whole valley was covered with red carpets of poppy flower, from the farthest tent in the village came out the cry of a baby. A child was born, a strong and healthy baby. The child looked at his parents so consciously and carefully with his black, bright eyes that his father named him Eskali, which means clever. When the boy grew up, all the villagers loved him because of his sharp mind and wit. Many of them even approached Eskali for practical advice. The parents were very proud of their young son. When he turned 20, the parents started to talk about his marriage, but Eskali just laughed and waved at the idea. But once he came home gloomy and thoughtful. His mother asked him for a long time what had happened. Eskali told his parents that he had fallen in love with the girl from a neighboring village. The mother clapped her hands with joy, and the father smiled. So they will soon have a wedding. Only Eskali was gloomy, and the joy of the parents quickly faded when they learned the name of the girl. Her name was Jansaya. The glory of her beauty went far beyond the village, and if any man even looked into her extraordinarily beautiful emerald eyes, he would forever lose his peace. That's what happened to Eskali. But the girl liked Eskali too, and her heart was on fire for him. Only now her father was very wealthy. He was a cunning and greedy rich man. He wanted to give his beautiful daughter to a rich man so he could get a wealthy kalim from her. The parents decided to help Eskali and to try his luck, and maybe their son would be lucky enough and the bai would give his consent. They put on the most expensive clothes, took good presents, and went to woo the bai. The bai invited the matchmakers and politely sat down beside him, and he listened to them attentively. He took the gifts and said, chuckling deeply inside on the next fools, "It is an honor for us, dear guests, that you have come into our house." The conversation began. "And your son is worthy as a groom for my daughter. Only now you understand me, of course, that to give my only daughter, I must test your son. And if he will go through it successfully, I will give my word as a rich man that I will give my daughter to Eskali. But if he won't, then certainly I'm very sorry." Eskali nodded and waited for the task. "I want," continued the bai, stroking his long beard, "I want to see a lake in our valley. It should be big, and it must have the same emerald green color, just as my daughter's eyes." Eskali's face turned white with anger, but he couldn't say anything. He only nodded his head. "But that is not all," said the bai. "I also wish you to bring me wealth, gold, silver, and precious stones. That's all, of course. Yes, and I will give you for that, said the Bai, pretending to think. I suppose 1 day is enough, of course. Maybe 2, but it will be difficult to handle such tasks. So let us say 3 days. I think it is enough. So I give you now 3 days for this task. The next morning, as soon as the sun rose, Eskali put on the clothes, twisted inside of his father's robe, and tied the multicolored scarf on his head. He took a felt travel bag and left the tent, while his mother and father were still asleep. Eskali was walking for a long time, and he rose high into the gorge and looked around. Somewhere here there must be the spirits, so he decided to check it out. Ah, it's so nice here in this valley, he loudly exclaimed. The silence, the beauty, and the fresh cool breeze that blows upon me. I've seen lots of places that are hot and places that are cold, and at one point the wind can blow too hard, but in other places the wind blows not at all. But here it is just perfect by God's grace. I would say thank you. I would give a low bow, but I just don't know to whom. You can say thank you to me. Suddenly someone loudly whistled under his ear. The wind picked up and tattered the hem of his robe. Then Eskali saw the spirit of wind standing in front of him. So that's who you are, great spirit of the wind. Thank you, said the young man, and he bowed low. Here I sat down to rest, and your wind blew over me, and it gave me a cool breeze. I thank you. Who are you? The wind said. I am a traveler, wandering in the world. Right, and I see that you are not from the local places. You are dressed beautifully, and you speak good words about me, not like those little people living in our valley. They only complain. Nothing is right. I'm tired, and sometimes they make me so angry with their complaints that I have to send a storm upon them. Well, one can see that you are very fair and very strong. Eskali praised him. I also met the spirit of the wind in the neighboring gorge. He was also strong. He could move huge stones and boulders in one fell swoop. He told me that he was the strongest one in the region. What? Cried the spirit. I am the strongest one here. Have a look. The wind took over the huge stone and lifted it into the air. Wow, you really are strong. But he also lifted a similar boulder. I asked him if he would be able to raise such a boulder. He replied that it could not be raised by anyone. But I can, replied the wind. Can you? Here, take this lump from this place, said Eskali, pointing to the 2 mountain peaks, and move them over there, between the 2 mountain ridges. Watch how I do it, the wind said. Dust rose into the air, and the wind spun and ripped the boulder from its place. Eskali saw how another stone mountain hoisted and raised between the 2 mountain ridges. When the spirit of wind came back, Eskali shrugged his shoulders and said, I suppose it's true that you are the most powerful one. The wind, breathing heavily, replied, Yes, it is so indeed. So tell everyone that there is no stronger wind than me. Only now I am very tired. I need a rest. Good luck to you, stranger. And the wind whistled and flew away. Eskali spent the night there, and with the first rays of the sun, he went on further. What wonderful stones, Eskali exclaimed. In the mountains, I have never seen such beautiful stones. Wow, what a beauty! I wonder who made them. I did. Suddenly there was a rumbling voice over his head. The mountain shook, and stones showered from it, and the spirit of the mountain and stones appeared before Eskali. I am a traveler who has seen a lot of the world, but I have never seen such stones, exclaimed Eskali. Ah, you are not from here. Immediately I can see that you are not from these places. No one admires my stones like you. Everyone just tries to extract jewels from the stones in the depth of my mountains. They bring me distraction. Only rockfalls can stop them. Those nasty, miserable people. And maybe you too have come to beg me for something. I know that I'm not helping people, blurted the spirit of the mountains. Why would you think so? No. Escali waved his hands. Of course not. I just wandered around the world. I've seen and heard a lot, but I don't need anything from you. I did happen to meet the spirit of the neighboring mountain gorge. He also had a lot of beautiful stones, and he boasted as if he had all the colors of the stones. So what? Said the spirit. I've got them too. Yes, of course, but he said that he was the only one who had these stones. Escali then lowered his voice. These stones are of an unusual emerald color. Ha ha ha, laughed the spirit. I've got those kinds of stones too. Really? Escali exclaimed. Or maybe you're just kidding with me. Could you show me? You don't believe me? Thundered the spirit. Then have a look. The mountain shook, and the spirit disappeared for a moment, and then appeared again, and showed Escali several sparkling emerald stones. Ah, exclaimed Escali. What a beauty! You have not disappointed me. But the neighboring spirit did in fact have these same stones. So now you are equal in your wealth and greatness. No, rumbled the mountain spirit. I'm richer than him. In my storerooms I have more stones. They lie very deep. I can collect as much as I want. Wow! Can you fill out the space between the 3 mountain ridges with those emerald stones? Do you have enough stones for that? Watch me, thundered the spirit, and he disappeared. The mountains and the earth shook, and the emerald stones began pouring out of the sky, covering the low land like a green carpet, surrounding all sides of the mountain. You see? Croaked the weary spirit. Yes, I see. I see that you are now the most powerful of all the spirits of the mountains. But now I'm tired. I need to gain back my strength. Good luck, traveler, said the spirit, and he disappeared. Descending from the top of the mountain, Escali came to a rapid small stream, and the water in it was clear and cold. Escali drank the purest water and exclaimed, "What delicious water! I've been to so many places, but I haven't tasted water like this. Thank you to the mighty spirit of the water. Drink to your health." Escali heard a sudden voice. He turned and saw the spirit of the water and master of rivers. "My water is the most delicious in the whole valley," said the spirit. "Yes, it is. But why are there so few large rivers and no lakes? I am a traveler. I'm here for the first time and it surprises me. Well, of course I can create them. But for what? To whom shall I try? The people living in the village, they have not appreciated me. But in the neighboring valley, I also met with the spirit of the water, and he showed me all his might. I didn't know that from a small stream, one can create a raging river. Apparently, this is the only way he knows how." And Escali praised the neighboring spirit. "He is not the only one who can do it," exclaimed the spirit, gurgling like boiling water in a cauldron. "I can do it too." "And can you not only turn a trickle into a large river, can you also change its direction? Will it run throughout the cleft between the mountain peaks and surround some green stones?" Escali asked him. "If it can do that, then I will know that you are the most powerful in the valley. Watch me as I do it," the spirit shouted. In an instant, a small trickle began to expand and became a raging stream. He turned the river stream and made its way, moving the stones and breaking shrubs by covering the water with everything. He chipped the flow through the mountains and filled the canyon and lined it with emerald stones. "Now what do you say, stranger?" "Yes," Escali said. "Now I know that you are Lord of the mighty rivers. I've exerted a lot of effort and now I need rest. I wish you good journey, stranger." And the spirit then vanished and disappeared into the creek. Eskali gazed at the direction where very recently there was a mountain cleft. Incredibly now, a beautiful lake sparkled and shimmered in the sunlight. Its emerald waters were exactly the same color as the eyes of his beloved Jansaya. Eskali's heart was pounding with joy and happiness. Eskali returned home. His parents could not be happier for their son. They went that same day to visit the rich man. The bai was grinning at them. Jansaya was hidden away, not knowing what to expect from her father's cunning attitude. "Well," he said sarcastically, "have you fulfilled my task?" "Indeed I have," the proud Eskali said. The bai was surprised. He didn't expect that. He couldn't believe his ears. "What did you say? Come again?" "I've done everything, exactly as you've ordered. Come on, I'll show you the lake. Its color is the same as your daughter's eyes." The bai jumped out from the yurt. Eskali brought the bai to the lake. As soon as he saw the incredible lake, he couldn't believe his eyes. What? How? It can't be true!" The bai shouted and ran to the lake. Suddenly he stopped. He was struck with a new thought. "Yes, I see the lake, as it was prearranged. But here's one thing that you've forgotten, Eskali. Where are your generous gifts, your gold and silver and precious stones? You have to give them to me." "I haven't forgotten about it. They are on the bottom of the lake. You can see green emeralds. They are all yours. I give them to you." "Really?" said the bai. "How do I get to them?" "I do not know," shrugged the boy. "Perhaps you could dive in to get them. There are so many stones that they will make you the richest man in the valley." The bai groaned with rage, but there was nothing he could do. He had to give his beautiful daughter away, and he gave Jansaya to the witty and savvy Eskali. They had a magnificent wedding, and they lived happily ever after. The Emerald Lake, Jasalkel, is called so because of the color of the water. Saturated bright and emerald hues please the eye even in cloudy weather. In the sun, the lake becomes even more beautiful. The lake is high, more than 3,000 meters above sea level, in the Alatau mountain range. Jasalkel was formed as a result of a collapse of a dam mountain near the glacier, apparently due to an earthquake. The lake water is clear, strongly mineralized, and very cold. The lake has no fish. Its rocky shores in some places are covered with grass. During the summer months, the water level is at its maximum, and the grassy slopes are under the water. On the north side of the lake, it is very close to the high ridge with steep, loose stones. Several rivers flow into the Jasalkel Lake. In the spring, when the melting of glaciers is less active, the water in the lake is blue. The glaciers turn the rocks into powder. The water under the glacier is gray because it is full of stone particles of different sizes. As the distance from the glacier increases, the particles settle at the bottom and the smaller stones remain on the water surface. The suspension of the smallest particles of stone reflects sunlight. This lake is one of the most unusual and beautiful natural phenomenon of the world. Jasalkel changes its colors depending on the light and time of day, from pale blue to bright emerald. Such dissolved minerals such as sulfur and iron oxide give the lake its tense emerald color. Certainly you must visit this place and see it for yourself, the extremely beautiful place with the crystal clear emerald lake.